Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So the big question is, do you think Manchester United have the consistency to finish in that top four this season? Now, obviously now at the moment we are 16 games into the Premier League season. We have registered 24 points, so we have won 6, drawn 6 and lost 4, and Solskjaer recently revealed that we've drawn too many games this season. Some of them games we have obviously have drawn. We should have turned them into wins, and I think the games we have lost. We actually shouldn't have lost many of them. But actually, quite a few weeks ago, this was prior to the City and Tottenham game. Which obviously are our most recent games. I actually fully disregarded that top four. And don't get me wrong, I'm still sceptical, that we are going to get that top four this season, but we are now only 5 points behind that top four. Obviously, Chelsea are losing their last league game by 3 goals to 1 against Everton. And I did initially say, didn't I, at the start of this season, that our expectations this season, will be probably, to finish in that top four. So obviously, we can't get Champions League football for next season secured. And I did say, didn't I, Champions League football is always, essential, when you, especially when you do want to attract players to the elite level, because when you're in Champions League football, it's always very beneficial. I know I did say, I've said on my recent videos especially, that I think it's more imminent, that we'll get Champions League football, by progressing in the Europa League. Because I think we've got a big chance of winning the Europa League this season. Even though we've enjoyed a disastrous start to the season, I still think, we are good enough to win the Europa League. We're already into the knockout stages of the competition. We initially got qualification for the knockouts after 4 games. We've now played 5 games in the Europa League. We have only got now 1 game remaining in the group stage and that. But I did initially say anyway, didn't I? Our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, because obviously, I know that we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. We're not good enough to mount many kind of title challenge up. If we can get obviously the right caliber players to Manchester United next year and that, and obviously our recruitment can improve, then I think we can be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and we can be back to being future title contenders and that. But it is going to take a long rebuilding process. But I did initially confirm, didn't I, at the start of this season, that I didn't expect us to win the league this season. Despite the 3 signings that were recommended into the football club during the summer, because we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. And like I said, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So like I said, they've been our best players, the 3 signings that were recommended in. And, they haven't been accountable for, the vast majority of our bad performances and results this season. So I do credit them for that, you know. Um, but yeah, so we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. But I did say at the start of this season as well, I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. But like I said, reflecting on the wins against Tottenham and Manchester City, you can say they've saved. Definitely, saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. Because if we hadn't won any of them games, or even if we hadn't have even if we hadn't won the Tottenham game, I think Solskjaer would have been sacked by now. And analysing it, I think the Man City game is the best game in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career so far at Manchester United and that. But yeah, very very good. There were 2 very good performances. The game against Tottenham and Man City, and hopefully now we can replicate that in all of our games now for the rest of the season. Hopefully, where we can do that. And I think if we can keep this good run of form up at least until March or until the end of the season, I think we could get that top four. And like I said then, my perceptions will start to change regarding Solskjaer, because like I said, a good couple of results, doesn't really change my perception regarding him. But yeah, I've been very, very impressed recently, with Man United. But analysing it this season anyway, we've done really, really well against elite opposition, like I've said to you on a regular basis. Obviously we've beaten Man City. Solskjaer he said, we've beaten the best team in England. Even though they haven't performed to the standards as we expected from them this season. You can say we beat the best team in England because City obviously won the league last season. They've won back-to-back titles. In total, they've won 3 Premier Leagues. They also won the domestic treble last season. But they've actually been quite poor this season. But it was still a fantastic victory. We was massive underdogs going into that game. We're beating Tottenham. Which was very, very good. And we didn't expect, to beat Tottenham, because like I said, since Jose Mourinho got recommended in to Tottenham have rejuvenated themselves. They've won 3 games out of 4. So it's good to see that that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has overcome Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho. That was very, very good. We drew with Liverpool early on in the season. We're the only team this season in the Premier League, to take any points from Liverpool. We beat Leicester early on in the season 1-0. And we beat Chelsea at the beginning of the season by 4 goals to 0. So we've done well against elite opposition. So it is good that our record against the top 6 sides have improved. But we've just now got to replicate that against the lower opposition because we've been very, very poor against the lower opposition. So that's the element of concern. But like I said, there's still a long way to go in the season. There's still 22 games remaining. Don't forget. But anyway, Solskjaer's job is safe at Man United. Manchester United have told Solskjaer that his job is safe. Because don't forget, he recently, held face-to-face talks with Joel Glazer. Obviously, of course, who's obviously, one of the Glazers and that. And he's actually assured that his job is safe. Not too long ago, Ed Woodward had assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe. Because obviously, Ed Woodward is determined to stand by Solskjaer. Did initially say if the inconsistency, was to continue to persist, then he would consider getting rid of him. Obviously, the players are keeping faith in Solskjaer as well. Obviously, don't forget recently they urged the board not to sack Solskjaer, because the board actually asked the players about the possibility of sacking Solskjaer. But like I said, I've got to say the board are accountable as well. They're to blame as well. And I think actually from my own perception, the board have been a liability, not only recently, for several years and that. So they also are accountable. I think also a lot of the blame stems from Ed Woodward. Solskjaer's obviously been accountable for some of our bad results and performances this season. Obviously a lot of the players are to blame. But I've got to say recently, I've seen a variety of changes in that. Certain players have stepped up to the plate. We've showed tactical flexibility. These some games this season where we've showed tactical flexibility. Don't get me wrong, I know I've criticised Solskjaer for the vast majority this season, because he has actually, been tactically naive in that, and some of his substitutions have been questionable. But recently, we have showed a lot of tactical flexibility. Recently, we've been creating more chances as well. In the vast majority of our games this season, we've been struggling to create chances. This is why we haven't been scoring enough goals. So I have seen a lot of changes, which is very, very good to see, guys. Which is very, very good to see. I think well, in the last 9 or 10 games, that Marcus Rashford has definitely now rejuvenated himself. I've been very, very impressed there with Marcus Rashford. I think he's not overall the best in the league, but I think at this present time he's the best in the league because he's in scintillating form. He's Marcus Rashford. He's scored 10 goals in his last 11. I think he's been directly involved in 12. He's been directly involved in 12. And he's done really, really well. Rashford scored 3 goals in his last 2 games. One against City, 2 against Tottenham. Should have arguably had more against Tottenham and Man City. Reflecting on the chances he's had when he hasn't scored. But he's only the age of 22, and I know I criticised Marcus Rashford earlier on in the season. Reflecting on his bad performances. But I still said at that point, he's the long-term solution for Man United. And obviously now we mainly plays out on the flank, because obviously Martial now plays centrally. Even though Rashford as well can play centrally. But I've got to say, when he's on form, he can get good runs in behind. He has that finishing asset. So fair play to Rashford. He's now nearly on 60 goals for the football club in all competitions, 2 goals away from being on 60 goals, and he's nearly made now 200 appearances for the football club. But Rashford's record against the top 6 sides is fantastic. So he's definitely stepped up to the plate. I think Martial's done really, really well in the games he's played in this season. I know he has, sustained quite a few injuries, Anthony Martial. Obviously, Anthony Martial was injured recently. Don't forget he had a muscular problem. He initially sustained this muscular problem in the 2-2 draw with Aston Villa. So obviously, missed the Tottenham game. But obviously, played in the game against Man City. And it was good that he got his name on the score sheet. Anthony Martial was initially out with a hamstring problem earlier on the season. He was out for a couple of months due to this. So sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player was Anthony Martial. But I do really, really like him, because Martial, can create chances. He can get runs in behind. He's flourishing as a Manchester United player. He does add more inspiration in that attack of third the pitch. Maybe some aspects of him, are maybe, comparable to Rashford and that, But, yeah, Rashford's in better form than him at the moment, but Martial's still a very, very good player. I know for the vast majority of his career with Man United, obviously, he has operated on that left-hand side, on out wide, because that's his predominant position, but obviously it got confirmed at the start of this season that he has been given that number 9 shirt. But he's beneficial anyway, Martial, because he does help the likes of Daniel, James, and Rashford, and I think, when they play together especially, they do complement each other well. I've got to be honest with you in that they do really, really well. But he does, Martial definitely, does add more inspiration in that attack of third in the pitch. But now he's into his 5th season as a Man United player. He has scored 54 goals in 187 appearances for the football club, and this is of course in all competitions and that. But he has been revelation. He's only 24, Martial. He has just recently turned the age of 24, and we only got him at the age of 19. We recommended him into the football club. We got him under the Louis van Gaal era. Don't forget that his iconic moment obviously was scoring on his debut against Liverpool. Like I say, I think recently, Jesse Lingard has done really, really well. Solskjaer, recently, admitted that, Lingard's obviously, being affected by off-field issues this season, which he has done. Don't forget Jesse Lingard was injured earlier on in the season and that, but I think since he's, come back and that into the team, I think, he's actually, done really, really well. But, he's a long-term solution for Man United, is Jesse Lingard. I've got to be honest as well. With players coming back from injury, that's also beneficial in that. Obviously, McTominay's just recently, recovered from an ankle injury. And I've got to take into account McTominay has done really, really well. He's controlled that midfield, and he's been a revelation this season for the football club. These question marks around McTominay, can he, keep the consistency up and that. But obviously, when McTominay, was out with that ankle injury, obviously, we had to go with midfield. Mainly Pereira and Fred, and obviously we do know that wasn't working out a lot. A lot of Manchester United fans, of course, have been criticising Andreas Pereira and that, and obviously a lot of Manchester United fans feel as though that he isn't good enough to represent the football club and that. But definitely McTominay is a much better solution than him. But fair play to McTominay, definitely fair play to him. And I think, you know, if he and Fred, you know, can, you know, you know, if they can continue the consistency up and that, then I think, you know, they could emulate into two Glasgow midfielders and that, because I think, you know, they've blended in very, very well together, McTominay and Fred in our midfield. You know, I've got to say with Fred, you know, he's also, you know, rejuvenated himself recently. He's also, you know, been a revelation for Man United as Fred, and you know, I know that Fred and, you know, McTominay comparison and that, but I've got the same perception on both players. You know, I don't know if they're, you know, the long term solutions and that. But Fred's done really, really well recently, and I did say, you know, we need to be patient with Fred. You know, we've got to give him more time at the football club. He's only been here since the summer of 2018. I will agree on the aspect. You know, we definitely know why we paid for him. You know, we paid what, £50 million to him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. I know, analysing the vast majority of his career with Man United so far, he hasn't, you know, replicated at Man United what he did do with Shakhtar Donetsk, but we've got to give him more time. And he was the man of the match against Man City, because I thought he was superb against Man City with Fred. So yeah, you know, they've done really, really well. Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I thought he was absolutely immense against Man City, was Wan-Bissaka. And I do believe he's a player we can rely on, and he can be our right back for the next decade. You know, he's got you know, his defensive distribution's fantastic. He's only with the age of 21, so I've been very, very impressed there with him. And yeah, so I've been impressed there with a lot of players. It's also beneficial as well that Luke Shaw is now back from injury. You know, since he returned from his hamstring injury, you know, he's made 2 substitute appearances in the league. Also started one game because he started against Man City, and also played, you know, the full 90 minutes against FC Astana. Obviously, Tuan Zebe is now back from a hip injury, and I think, you know, in the games he's played in this season, he's also done really, really well. So it's good now that players are coming back from injury now, like I said. And yeah. Obviously, you know, you saw my preview I did yesterday for the Manchester United versus AZ Alkmaar game, which is obviously now this Thursday, 8 o'clock kickoff. It's our final game of the Europa League in the group stage. I think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, has done his press conference, so I will give you my reaction to his press conference on the next video when I do watch his press conference and that. I do presume in the game against AZ Alkmaar, you know, Solskjaer will go with the youth and that, because obviously he knows it's a meaningless game anywhere, because, you know, we already are into the knockout stages of the competition. I think Solskjaer, you know, could go with a similar team, you know, Tazia did do against FC Astana. Obviously, you know, against FC Astana, you know, we, you know, recommended a young squad to Kazakhstan. You know, vast majority of the young players actually, you know, were teenagers who were recommended there. We only took 4 senior players, don't forget, to Kazakhstan, and in total, Solskjaer handed 7 debuts out against FC Astana, and that, you know, we saw likes of Ethan Laird, Dylan Levitt, Dishon Bernard, all given their debuts. Don't forget Lee Grant had made his full debut, our third choice goalkeeper. But yeah, so it's still a game you could say we need to win. Of obviously, you know, in terms of, you know, finishing top of the group and that, because whoever wins this, you know, does finish top of the group. You know, where we have so far in the Europa League we've won 3 out of 5, so we've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1, and we've registered 10 points of possible 15. And AZ Alkmaar, of course, have registered 9 points, you know, so they are only 1 point behind us. Obviously the reverse fixture was 0-0 between the two teams. I've got to analyse it. I think that's our worst game this season. It's our worst game this season in terms of the performance. And that performance was absolutely dreadful in the last game, you know, against Alkmaar. We didn't even register a single shot on target. But I do presume this performance will be totally comparison, you know, to the, you know, last leg. Will be totally, you know, comparison to the last leg and that. Obviously, it did say that the likes of Mason Greenwood and Brandon Williams could play in the game against Alkmaar. Obviously, I think they missed the under-23s match on Monday, so they could be in line to start. And like I said, they are two, young upcoming players that I definitely think are going to become a success at the football club. I think, Mason Greenwood's going to do really, really well, and he's scored 4 senior goals for the football club so far this season, and I can definitely rely on Mason Greenwood, and I think as he develops smart, I think eventually, he will overcome Rashford, and he will, he will eventually, become a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford and that. His comparison to likes of Rashford and Martial at the moment, but because, he's only the age of 18. Obviously, he actually started the game against Tottenham. That was the first game he started from the start in the Premier League. But that was only due to Anthony Martial's absence at that point. But he started a few games in the Europa League, so I think, he should, start this, if not start, be involved at least. I've been very impressed with Brandon Williams. I think now Solskjaer views Brandon Williams as his first choice left back, and like I said, we've got a variety of fullbacks in the team that can be competitive. As you all know. But like I said, I think Brandon Williams is a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact for a number of years Luke Shaw's been our first choice left back, and I think he's a much better solution than Ashley Young and all that. But I said he would more first team promotions if he was to keep the consistency up. Only at the age of 19. Don't forget Brandon Williams recently signed a new long-term contract with the football club. Perhaps maybe Chon, could start this game, or at least be involved in that. I've got element of concerns about Chon. I think he's one of the upcoming players, we need to consider getting rid of next year and that. Because I've got to be honest, I think his appearances have been limited at Man United if Chong's. I think, we need to get rid of him and that. And there's been a change of narratives in that regarding him, because Solskjaer recently came out and insisted that Man United want Chong to stay. But why was it a month or so ago or before then, quite some time back, he allegedly said that Chong had informed the football club, that he wanted to leave at the end of the season when his current contract does expire and that. But his appearances have been limited, like I said, since he broke into the senior squad. But could start in this game. Maybe even Angel Gomez, could start this game. Obviously, he's another one of our midfield options. But I can definitely assure that he will make he will make a variety of changes. From the 2-1 win against Man City. Also, he'll rest key players. He'll play some of the essential players, but he'll rest some key players. Because obviously Everton is on the horizon, and we know the Europa League is a priority, but also the Premier League is a priority. But we've got games coming up thick and fast, especially at home. Alkmaar tomorrow. We've got Everton this Sunday. Then we go at home to Colchester in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So yeah, games are coming up thick and fast, and I think there's also a chance we could win the Carabao Cup and that. Because like I said, we are into the quarterfinals. We have still obviously got players injured, but the most of them that are injured are back in training. Bay's still out with a knee injury. He's been out with a knee injury since pre-season. Obviously, Fossil Mensu's out with a knee injury. He's back in training. Dalot's been out with a few. He's had a few injuries this season as Dalot, but he's back in training. Matic has had a minor problem, but he's back in training and that. Rojo's, I think, out until early January with a muscle injury. So we have still got players out with injury and that. The news regarding Paul Pogba. Solskjaer has recently revealed that Paul Pogba is on the grass and he's training. So obviously now Paul Pogba has regained full fitness and that. It still remains uncertain whether he's going to be playing in the game tomorrow against Alkmaar. But if he doesn't play tomorrow, I can definitely assure he will be be prepared for the game against Everton on Sunday. Paul Pogba has been out with an ankle injury for 3 months. So he hasn't, he's been out of action since September. The last league game he did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal early on in the season. So he has been out with an ankle injury. We know he's been a big miss in that midfield. Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. You know, with how much of an imperative player is. And Solskjaer recently, defended his professionalism, and he did say when he does initially, come back from injury, it will be like a new world class sign and that. I still believe Pogba wants out of the football club. Like he did do for the entirety of the summer transfer window and that. Could be more imminent now he leaves next summer rather than January. I could be sceptical now he could leave in January, to be quite honest. So he could leave next summer because recent reports have confirmed we've opened the door for Paul Pogba to leave before the start of next season, because, we're looking on bringing, 2 midfielders in and that. Obviously we've got the likes of Saul Niguez and James Maddison on our agenda. We're seeing obviously them as a replacement for Paul Pogba. But I think, he's going to leave next summer. Obviously, he was relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid for the entirety of the summer transfer window. There was also talks about him possibly making a return back to Turin and that, because he did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, but hasn't mainly replicated this at Man United. Obviously, there's been speculation before in the past of him, possibly, going to Barcelona. But I think it's imminent that he will go to Real Madrid, because I think that's his preference. Pogba's still got 2 years left in his contract at Man United. Oh, sorry, I think around 18 months left in his contract at Man United, so that's like a year and a half. But we do have an option to extend his contract by a further year as well. Don't forget, after this 18 months or so. And he's on around 290 grand a week at the club. And, he's not only, one of the highest paid players at the club, he's the most expensive signing, because we paid 89 million for Paul Pogba, don't forget. And Paul Pogba in total, since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016, he has made 148 appearances in all competitions and scored 31 goals for the football club. But it's good anyway, that he's back from injury. Yeah. So like I said anyway, my press conference will be coming up on my next video. Solskjaer, as you all know, is making plans for January and that. People do believe that, he's the right man to rebuild, Manchester United and that. But I think, Solskjaer, wants to recommend 3 players to the football club in January. But I do believe we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. But next year, like I said, we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get an attacking midfielder. We've also got to get a defensive midfielder. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. And we also need to get a couple of attackers in. We need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez and that. Because you can say for the vast majority of this season, we've looked very exposed in that attacking line following their departures. And there's possibly other areas in the squad that I do need to be addressed. But I think Man United are willing to give Solskjaer, the right amount of funds, that he does need, to get, the right calibre players in. So there has obviously, been a lot of speculation, recently, going on regarding, Saul Niguez and James Maddison. So they are the 2 midfielders on our agenda and that. And, like I said, Saul Niguez is gonna cost the club a substantial amount of money. I think we're going to have to pay in the excess of over £100 million. So I think we're going to have to pay around £120 million to recommend him in, because Saul Niguez at Atletico Madrid has got a release clause of around £130 million in his contract. He's still got around 6.5 years left on his contract with Atletico Madrid. He's still under contract with them until 2026. A couple of years ago, he signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Now he's 25 years of age, Saul Niguez. He can play as a central midfielder, or he can play as a holding midfielder. Don't forget, we've inquired about getting Saul Niguez in the past quite a few times. But the question is, do you think he would be the right calibre player for Man United and that? Obviously, if he comes to the Premier League, it will be it will be a new era for him and stuff, because obviously he'll be playing amongst different players and that. He'll be playing in English football. But maybe I think at Man United he could replicate, what he has done over Atletico Madrid and that. He's a good player. I've watched him quite a few times for Atletico Madrid. He spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. I think he's been there overall since 2008. been in their senior squad since 2011, or is it 2012, and he's gone to make over 250 appearances for Atletico Madrid and that. But he is going to cost the club a substantial amount of money. James Maddison, I definitely can assure he will be the right calibre player for Man United and that. Obviously, we inquired about getting James Maddison for the entirety. Well, not the entirety, but for the majority of the summer and that. Allegedly, we've been interested in James Maddison since June, but he's a very, very good player. Also, well, Premier League proven, only very, very young. James Maddison is only the age of 23. Just recently, turned 23 not too long ago. Predominantly an attacking midfielder, but can also play on the left because Brendan Rodgers has played him on the left quite a few times, but predominantly an attacking midfielder. And I think this season with Leicester, he's replicating, what he did in his debut season with Leicester last season and that. James Maddison in total, since his arrival at the King Power Stadium, he has made 54 appearances and scored 14 goals in all competitions. Obviously, the vast majority of his appearances have come in the Premier League. He's obviously made 51 appearances in the Premier League and scored around 12 goals in the Premier League and that. So, has been a revelation for Leicester City, especially under Brendan Rodgers' guidance. He's still got quite a few years left in his contract as James Maddison. I think he's under contract with them until 2023, is it? So still got around 3.5-4 years left in his contract. Leicester only paid around £20 million to him from Norwich last summer, and I thought he had a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich, so he's emulated himself up. Obviously had a loan spell with Aberdeen as well. Initially began his career with Coventry when he was younger. So yeah, I think he would be the right solution, definitely, for Man United. But there was talks recently saying, that he's on the verge of signing a new contract with Leicester. Well, Leicester, there's been talks about him signing a new contract with Leicester, so could commit his long-term future with Leicester City. I do not know, but he's another player on our agenda. But I think that fit our system perfectly. With both players. But, my preference would be James Maddison over Niguez if I choose out one of them, because obviously, James Maddison, is a Premier League proven, and obviously Saul Niguez is a totally comparison. I think he's comparison to James Maddison, but it would be beneficial if we could recommend them both, because like I said, we're in search for two midfielders. But yeah, James Maddison's going to cost us a substantial amount as well. We'll have to pay nowhere near as much as we would have to do for Saul Niguez, but he's still going to cost us around 60 or 70 million pounds. As you all know, recently, there has been a lot of speculation going on regarding Erling Haaland. Obviously, I think Solskjaer's identified him as his top priority target for the January transfer window. There was recent reports emerging out saying that, we could struggle to land Erling Haaland in January and that. Due to Mini Raiola, who of course is Paul Pogba's agent, because I think he's actually instructed him, not to come to Manchester United. I do believe Man United have instructed scouts to keep a close eye out on Erling Haaland on numerous occasions. I think we instructed a scout out yesterday to watch him in action against Liverpool. Red Bull Salzburg lost 2-0 to Liverpool yesterday in that, and he's a very, very good player, is Erling Haaland. No, he's been a revelation this season for Red Bull Salzburg. He scored 28 goals in 21 games in all competitions. He's only the age of 19, but a number of clubs have attracted their interest in the player. Juventus, Tottenham, Borussia Dortmund and all that, they've all been interesting, but he could be available for just £17 million in January, because it recently got revealed that Erling Haaland has got a £17 million release clause in his Red Bull Salzburg contract. So obviously, taking into the equation as well, he's a cheap solution. I think also the beneficial thing about recommending him in Erling Haaland is that, he's played under Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould, and Solskjaer, of course, is keen on reuniting with the player. So yeah, he's our main priority target. And I think, he's actually, my preference over Mario Mandzukic in that, because at one point, it looks destined that Mario Mandzukic was going to join the football club in January and that, but obviously, hasn't happened. But it's not going to happen now, because obviously, we've ended our interest in Mandzukic. But like I said, we have got a lot of players on our agenda. Obviously, recently Ed Woodward had assured Glasgow signings at Man United. But I still believe, he's not reliable enough, to oversee our transfer business. But, what we're going to do next year, we're going to be sensible with our recruitment. Are we going to overpay for players, like we have done in recent years. But like I said, it's not always about spending big on players and getting them, Glasgow players, because it doesn't always guarantee you success. And it's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years. And look, taking into account, a lot of money has been invested into the football club, since the Alex Ferguson era. Around £600-700 million has been spent, under Moyes, Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. Also, it also includes what, was spent under, what's been spent under Solskjaer so far, So a lot of money's being spent at the football club, and that's disregarding what was spent under Alex Ferguson. We've also got players on big contracts at the football club as well. I also wanted to put into the equation that. So Solskjaer's inheriting a good squad. There's a lot of good players in our team. Reflect on the amount of money that's being spent on players, like I said. And that, but there's only 3 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because taking into account Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players to the football club. Because Jose Mourinho obviously enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at Man United. He spent, was it 400 million or just under 400 million pounds on 11 players and that, and now Solskjaer, you can say, well, he is inheriting the vast majority of them. But you can still say he is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team and that. Solskjaer's obviously been here now for 12 months. He's been here a year, because he got recommended in last December after the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. Solskjaer's been, permanent manager now for around 9 months, hasn't he? You can say for the vast majority of that 9 months he's enjoyed a difficult time. The one mistake Man United did make, obviously, was, giving him the job. I think, we should never give him the job, or we, maybe give him the job too early. Maybe we should have waited him a bit longer to decide or not, whether he would be the right candidate, to take the job. He has got a 3-year contract, as you all know. So if we do decide to sack him any time within this 3-year contract, then obviously, it will cost the club, we'll have to pay something in compensation, obviously, to get rid of him and that. That's what we'd obviously have to do. But yeah, but I still feel as though that, he isn't a long-term solution for Man United. But regardless of what happens, whether his managerial tenure succeeds or not, we'll still never forget what he's done for the football club, because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. And as a manager, I think he's totally comparison as he was as a player. He hasn't really got a pedigree behind him, in terms of management. That doesn't mean, he still won't succeed at the football club and that. Yeah. So yeah, my press conference will be coming up for the Man United AZ Alkmaar game. I'm going to go watch his press conference now. So do you think Man United are good enough, to finish in the top 4 this season? I do want to know in the comments below and that. As you all know, there has been a couple of managers on our agenda who could replace Solskjaer at the club and that. Obviously, there's been Pochettino on our agenda. As you all know, there's been a lot of speculation about Massimiliano Allegri. But obviously now I'm skeptical about any of them getting hired in, because, we are going to stick with Solskjaer for now. But yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, like, on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you guys all again on my next video. Bye.